We live in a culture that quietly praises exhaustion. If you're busy, overwhelmed, always working, you must be doing something right. This is a story about overworking and how it took a moment of real catastrophe for me to realize how disconnected from life I had become. Overworking isn't usually about passion. It's often about fear. Fear of stopping, fear of falling behind, fear of what we might feel if we slow down. I didn't understand that until everything I thought mattered suddenly stopped making sense. On Friday, September 7th, 2001, I met my wife, as we often did, at the restaurant near the World Trade Center in New York City. We had dinner, then walked along the river. As we headed home, we walked between the two twin towers, tall, gleaming, almost unreal against the indigo evening sky. And I had this quiet realization. I had been there so many times that I stopped really seeing it. So I placed my hand on the stainless steel beams of the South Tower, looked up, and just stopped. I remember thinking, wow. No meaning, no plan, just presence. A few days later, I walked into the office. Something was wrong. It was Tuesday, September 11th. People were silent, looking down. Someone said an airplane hit one of the towers. They think it was terrorism. We turned on the radio, and the second plane hit. I thought about friends who worked there, people who practically lived there in those buildings, working non-stop, managing global markets, always under pressure. Then came the Pentagon, then Pennsylvania. Then the news said there were still planes unaccounted for. Surrounded by tall buildings. In New York City, where I worked and lived, I honestly thought, today, I might die. Hours passed, the city frozen. Transportation was shut down, subways, buses, trains, all closed. And I remember thinking, what do I do now? I could still just sit here in fear, or I could work. So I went back to my desk. The phones never stopped ringing. Clients called. Some were completely unaware of what was happening. Some were impatient, urgent, even rude. And I did what I'd always done. I worked efficiently, professionally. But something had changed. Everything felt like vanity. An entire layer of reality just dropped away. I couldn't stay inside the office, so I went out just to walk, to help my nerves. I saw buses unloading people covered in white dust, pulverized drywall from the towers. I looked down the avenue and saw the buildings burning like massive smokestacks. Nearly 3,000 lives were lost that day. And I thought about how many of them worked endlessly. How many were saving for retirement? How many had plans, pensions, and a someday waiting for them? A day that they never reached. And suddenly, that moment from a few days later came rushing back to me. My hand on that tower, looking up, that simple wow. And I realized that that was the moment that mattered. Not the someday, not the plan, not the accumulation, nothing. Just that moment. Overworking isn't devotion. It's often disconnection. It's what we do when we stop listening to our bodies, to our lives, to the quiet voice that knows what actually matters. We tell ourselves we'll rest later, we'll appreciate life later, we'll slow down when things calm down. But life doesn't wait for later. Rest, appreciation of life, isn't something you earn by suffering. Presence isn't a reward for exhaustion. No amount of work replaces presence. No amount of productivity equals being alive. Overworking is not virtue. It's often a prison sentence to systems that no longer serve the human spirit. So, if you're tired, if you feel like you're always pushing, always striving, it might not be because you're failing. It might be because you're overdue. Take a moment today, not later, not someday. Just one moment to stop. Look up and remember to say, wow. But sometimes a moment isn't enough. Sometimes the invitation is to take a day off, to work less, to stop trading your entire life for a future that isn't guaranteed, to notice the people you love, the conversations you keep postponing, the beauty and meaning that don't announce themselves loudly but are still there. And to look inward, past the noise, past the striving, to rediscover the essence of who you are beyond the hustle, because no amount of productivity replaces presence. And life is asking for you to now see itself.